Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Curious Creatures Drawing Workshop. So today we'll be creating a creature made up of a grasshopper, a rabbit, and a mouse with 4 legs, 4 ears, and wings that lives in a meadow and can fly. And these prompts were developed in a workshop with Playford College. Now let's have a quick look at our references. So up the top there we have our grasshopper. We then have our beautiful rabbit, and I've just picked sort of a brown rabbit with the beautiful long ears. And then we have a mouse, or a little field mouse, which is very, very cute. So let's get right on into the drawing. So, as always, let's start with a circle for the head. And let's think about where we're going to put our spine. Let's just do a light little curvy line like that. Now we have 4 legs on our creature, so let's pop those in. Just here. Now I'm thinking these might be sort of either rabbit-like or mouse-like kind of legs for this first one. And then let's put in the back leg, but I'm thinking this back leg we're going to utilize some of that grasshopper kind of structure. So these back legs will actually go up and then come back down, which is going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so something like that. And I think we should have a tail, so maybe we'll just extend this out and we're going to have just kind of a little curly tail there, just a light little curl at the back. Probably going to be a bit more mouse-like with this tail. Alright, let's come back up to the face. Now let's add a little bit of a sort of a triangle shape here. So both our rabbit and our mouse have these really nice little jaws or snouts, but I think I really love the rabbit's little cheeks here. They've got these big, beautiful, fluffy cheeks and this teeny tiny little nose, which is pretty cute. So let's add that in. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. Some real thunder going on outside there. Really glad to be inside doing some drawing. All right, let's add in nice big sort of cheek, and we'll just put in a little bit of a mouse just like that, just right in there. So we're using quite a bit of rabbit at this stage in this drawing. So let's come in and have a look at the eyes. So we have both the rabbits and the mouse have quite large eyes for their overall size of their head, as so do the grasshoppers actually. But I think let's add in those beautiful shapes there. We'll make it quite large actually, just like that. So we'll do a nice big circle, and then we're just going to add in these little bit of lines around it. Just pop a little bit of highlight in there. Lovely. And let's come up to the head. So we have 4 ears on this creature. 4 ears, that's a lot of ears to have. All right, let's think about this. So I think we're just going to stick with the rabbit for the moment. Let's do some really nice long rabbit ears. So the rabbit ears are going to be nice and long, sort of pointed, a bit like a long extended kind of triangle or a diamond shape almost. And we'll just add a little bit of fur on the inside. So that's one. That's one ear, and then maybe let's pop another ear directly behind. But let's maybe give it another shape. Maybe this ear is going to be a little bit pointed or a little bit floppy, like a floppy ear. So just something like that. So that's 2 of the 4 ears. So these are the 2 ears that are going to be on this side of the head, and then we'll draw another 2 in a second on the other side. But we might just leave it there for the moment so that we can keep going. But I think we might add in some antennas because we got these beautiful grasshopper antennas. So let's maybe add on our antennas just up the front here. So let's add these beautiful shapes. And we'll just add these little sections to our antenna. And I think we'll put both antennas in at the moment. So we'll just put a second one in. So it's up to you where you would like your antennas to sit. You might want them a bit higher up or a bit lower down, but let's just pop them there for the moment. All right, and I'm just going to add in a little bit of fur shapes. Just like that. Oh, and here comes the rain and the hail. There we go. I have hail outside. Gotta love that. All right, so let's keep going. So let's get to the body. So I think you might have a really nice kind of furry chest. So remember, just like all of our others, we're going to draw through some of our lines here, and that's totally fine. So let's kind of create this shape here, just like that. And we're going to add in that real furry chest, and maybe just have a little bit of fur on the bottom of and the back, just like that. So let's add in some detail onto these legs, and I want to focus on this back leg because it's quite different. So we're going to put in this really large triangular shape. All right, so it's going to be very large and rounded down here at the bottom, and then we're going to come up here into a bit of a point, and then we're just going to add a bit of a circle here. We're going to use that as a bit of our knee joint almost. All right, and then we're going to come down, and we're just going to do a much thinner triangle coming down to the feet. And then let's work on the feet. So let's actually make these another triangle. So these are going to be very reminiscent of rabbit feet, how they're going to come up. And you can almost see that they've got these little paws, just like that. I'm going to come down here like this. And then we can just add in some extra detail. So I want this bottom leg again to have a little bit of fur. And we might make this furry all the way up as well. So we can just add in some fur. Now I'm just going to erase this little bit of a line here just so that you can see what I'm drawing on this leg, but you can keep your construction lines in if you would like. Absolutely no need for you to erase it. All right. What I might do is I might make this join here be interesting. Maybe kind of highlight it a little bit like almost like you have your elbow. So maybe it's got some extra maybe wrinkle folds, or it's just going to look a little bit different. So maybe we can make it really different. We can make it really large, make it a really interesting feature. And then I don't know, maybe put some patterns on it or something like that. We can work that out a bit later. Alright, and now let's come to the front leg. Now, this one will probably make it a little bit more traditional in relation to what a normal leg would be. So we're just going to do a couple of those triangular shapes, nothing too extensive, but maybe we'll do a little bit of the same treatment here to the elbow as we did on this back leg, but maybe not as extreme, just something like that. And then we'll come down, and I think we'll just keep with the same. We'll do that similar foot at the front. All right. Now I think we just might need to create a little bit more of a curve up here on the back to kind of imagine that we've curved our animal all the way around. And then we're going to come into the tail. Now, this is where we're going to, I think we're just going to add in that mouse tail. So it's going to be nice and long and thin and sort of tapering into, not a point, but just sort of a rounded edge just there. Wonderful. And maybe we'll just put a couple of little curve lines here. So don't have to be too special with this. You can add in some stripes or some spots or some other details like that. But I don't think we're going to make the whole thing furry, although I'm quite partial to putting fluffs of fur at the end of the tail. So I'm going to add this in just here, just like that, because I think that looks pretty cool. Wonderful. All right. So let's add in our other legs. So we're just going to add in the shape here for the back. We're just going to copy what we've already done, so we don't have to reinvent this too much, which is kind of nice. So we can just add it in here. And we'll just keep it in a very simple pose at this stage. And so remember, we always offset our back foot compared to our front foot so we can see that it is further away in space. So that's back here and this one's back here. And then we will line up our front leg as well. And I might just do this one slightly differently. So I'm drawing through my character at the moment. And I'm going to just offset the angle of this one a little bit more. Not much, but I'm going to have it maybe reaching forward a little bit more than the arm that we've already drawn. It's just something like that. Wonderful. And now we can add in some extra details. Now, if you don't want to have lots of fur on your creature, you can obviously be inspired by that grasshopper look and have more of a sort of an exoskeleton kind of layout. It's entirely up to you. But once we've done this part, we're going to add in the wings, because obviously that is the next thing to add. So I'm just going to add in just a sort of a little kind of bump here, a hump there that would contain all of the wing muscles and things like that. I'm just going to kind of overarch a few shapes like this. And then let's add in the wings, because our creature can fly. Now I'm going to make these quite long. If you don't have room, that's fine. You can create another shape. And I think I'm going to make them kind of this sort of diamondy kind of shape, which is pretty nice, just like that. And then I'm going to draw the next wing, kind of in the same shape, just kind of sitting over the top. Now these wings can be sort of see-through, which is why I'm not worried about drawing over my lines here, but we're going to have a more solid shape here, which is going to be the sort of the main I don't know, membrane or spine of the wing that helps to give it some extra support. So I'm just going to draw both of those in just along the long edge of our wing, just like that. And I'm going to add in a few of those curved lines here, similar to whatever pattern you've done on the tail, just to keep a little bit of consistency going. And I might even add in a few here at the top for the antenna as well. Now I'm just going to lightly erase a little bit of my line, and this is a trick I like to do to show that something is behind. So this is not a solid shape now, so we can imagine that it's behind that wing. So we have an indication that it's there, but it's not very solid. And then from here, let's just run out some little lines. So you can kind of create whatever kind of pattern you want on your wings. So maybe have a look at the different types of wings that grasshoppers can have, or if you want to do more of a butterfly kind of effect, it's entirely up to you. And then likewise, let's add in the wings on the other side. So if you're like me and you're running out of room at the top of your page, that's not a problem. Just do the best you can, because you can always redraw it later. Alright, and then I might just be able to see a little bit of the other wing just here. And I'm just going to do a couple of dotted lines there to see. Alright, so that is our 4 wings. We have our 4 legs. We've got, we have to do the 4 ears, so we've got to put in our other ears. So again, I'm going to maybe make these ears a little bit floppier here. But you can follow the same shape as the ones we've already done if you prefer, or you can have your ears doing something different. As long as we have 4 ears at the end of it. Alright, and let's add, I'm going to put a bit more fur onto the back. So the reason we can't really see too much on the inside of these is because these ears are pointed in the other direction. So we're going to see the back of these ears, whereas these ears we can see the inside of the ears. So if you want to do some colouring, that's where the inside here and there would all be the same colour. Alright, so here is our very interesting looking character at the moment. So from here, as we said, this is where we can put in some extra patterning. So I think I will actually bring in a little bit of the patterns that we see on our grasshopper. So some of our grasshoppers will have these very bold lines of colour and stripes that go up the legs. So I might kind of just add in some of these stripes. Just kind of going up the legs like this. I might just make them a little darker so you can see that they'd be a different kind of colour. I might bring them down here and make sort of almost a few little spots like that. And then I might do the same on the arm just to kind of keep it consistent. But I won't make them as big as the other ones on the back legs. And then maybe we'll have a couple of little lines and stripes, maybe on the cheek area. And then a few little details maybe here along the face and up over the top of the head. So it almost looks a little sort of tiger stripe-ish at the moment as well. Something like that. And I think I might add in some whiskers. So both our rabbit and our mouth have whiskers. So I might add in some whiskers in there as well. And then I'm just going to continue some of that striping along the antennas. So this is where you can add in whatever you want. You might want to put in spots instead, or you might be happy with everything being one color. It's entirely up to you. This is the fun stage where you get to add in all of your own patterning, which I think sometimes is the really fun part. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to leave that there. I'm just going to put a little bit more fur indication in a few spots. Alright, and so now we're going to add in our background. Now we've said that our creature lives in a meadow. So from here, this is where we now get to come up with some ideas about how big our creature is. So at the moment we don't have any other scale. So this creature could be as small as an insect, as small as a grasshopper, or it could be the same size as a rabbit, or it could be a lot bigger. And what we decide to put into the background is how we're going to come up with the idea of how big it is. So if we make all the grass super, super low and then all the flowers sort of this size. And then that's a tree. Then our character's going to be really, really big. So you might want to do that. I probably don't want to make him quite that big. That's probably a little bit too scary for me. But I also probably don't want to make him super small. So I might aim for sort of the same size as a rabbit, or maybe just a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to add in some flowers here. Put in some grass. So in a meadow, you're going to have lots of grass, you're going to have some flowers, you may have a couple of trees here, but it's not going to be very heavily wooded. Probably have some trees dotted around, particularly in the background. You may have some trees in the distance. But we're going to have lots of different types of flowers. You might have lots of other insects around, maybe some bees. You might have some other animals. You might have some rabbits and mice and some grasshoppers, actually. All of those are creatures that you would find in this kind of environment, which is pretty wonderful. So you can just add in whatever kind of detail you like. And I might just put in just a little bit of a background horizon line just up there. Just so maybe we can see there. So the other thing you could add in some lakes or some rivers, because you get lots of those in that kind of environment. It's entirely up to you what you would like. Just remember, as you said, whatever you're going to add into the background, it needs to be a little bit smaller. So you can see this is the size of my flower in the background versus the size of my flower in the foreground. So we just want to make sure that things become smaller in the distance. All right. I'm going to call it there, guys. So I can't wait to see what you all come up with. So remember, if you would like to send in your images for inclusion in our online gallery, or if you want to come up with your own prompts, send it through to us on an email and we might use it in an upcoming video. Get creating!